welcome to Bowls Hastings for the final of the Bowls New Zealand Champion and Champion Triples here at Club Hastings. It's our pleasure to bring this coverage with you, and the final between that of Judy Robertson of the Taieri Club in Dunedin and Sarah Tokomo of Wellington. And the Dunedin side made up of Jean Young at number 2 and Beth Brown leading, and the Sarah Tukima side with Helen King at number 2 and Robin Rintel leading. Earlier on today we saw the Dunedin side defeat the local side, the Hawke's Bay side, nearest against by 15 shots to 14. They beat Lynn Stoward, Glenys Riddell and Pam Rowlands by 15 to 14. And Sarah Tokomo beat the Helen King and Robin Rintel side. They also had a tight game against Christine Tester, Jamie Smith and Rhonda Burrows of Manawatu. And the Wellington side running out the winners by 16 to 12. 15 ends this final, and with me I've got Debbie White, the current New Zealand part of the Blackjack High Performance side from the Hinuera Club in the Waikato. And welcome along, Debbie. And for this final, no doubt you would have played one of these teams or both of these teams throughout the event.
Yes, afternoon Kevin, thank you, it's a pleasure to be here. Yes, we faced the Taieri side this morning, and they were in very good form indeed.
The Taieri side, of course, Beth Brown the lead. Beth Brown earlier on this year of course represented Otago, or Dunedin, sorry, in the Intercentre, the lead holder of 17 centre titles. And Jean Young at number 2 has won 8 Dunedin titles, and in fact has won 2 titles this year. Judy Robertson, the skip, has won 11 Dunedin titles, won 3 in fact this year, and is the Dunedin Bowler of the Year. And while we're talking about the Taieri Bowling Club, our thoughts go out to Rob Gibson, the greenkeeper at Taieri, who unfortunately had a bit of a cardiac blip throughout the week, is at home resting now. Our best wishes to you, Bob, and trust we'll see you shortly, and just get well soon, mate. So immediately this final will get underway. One end been played, and it is the Dunedin side who are leading by 1-0 as we play this, the second end on the carpet here at Hastings. The surface, from what I've seen while I've been here, Debbie, the surface looks very good. Looks to be a good surface.
It's very good, and in fact I'd say it's probably one of the better ones I've played on, running quite well at about 15 odd seconds, give or take. Probably a little quicker towards the other end of the green, but still running beautifully.
And also, of course, we've got, in conjunction with the women's, we will have the men's semi-finals on. So the games this morning, we saw Nigel Burbick, Jonty Horwell and Kelvin Buchanan of Dunedin. They defeated David Clark, Roger Andrew and Gary Coppins of Counties Manukau by 19 to 7. And we saw a very, very tight game, really tight game. Rob Ashton, Ross Gillett and Wayne Coleman of Wellington up against the Canterbury combination of Nathan Glasson leading Kelvin Scott and Gary Lawson. And it was Ashton that ran out the winner by 16 shots to 15. So we're now having one semi-final, Rob Ashton, Ross Gillett and Wayne Coleman of Wellington up against Nigel Burbick, Jonty Horwell and Kelvin Buchanan of Dunedin. And in the other semi-final, we've got Stephen Yates, Jack Hiraway and Jimmy Heath of North Harbour up against the Auckland side of Mike Galloway skipping, Martin Dixon and Gavin Brown. And of course later on this afternoon we'll be bringing you live that final here from Hastings. So as we go to end 2 of 15 here, and we see very well performed Wellington side. Sarah Tokomo, of course, earlier on this year won the New Zealand mixed triples down in Central Otago. Her and Laurie Guy, and I think as the Wellington Bowler of the Year, had a really fantastic year. You no doubt, Debbie, have come across Sarah and Helen King, of course, 2 very, very top players.
Oh, absolutely, and of course Helen, the national singles winner from 2014, so a very well accomplished bowler.
And our marker out there on the green this afternoon, Tony Terry, is our marker out there on the green, the lollipop man as we call him, and the ladies are very obliging, moving away from the camera angle, which is always a wee bit more challenging in triples and fours, of course, when you've got a lot more around the head. So here we have the Dunedin skip, Judy Robertson, 3/4 length head. And you can see very early on, Debbie, that both hands seem to have a very consistent draw. They, if you give the bowl green, give it the right direction, it's certainly going to come home.
Absolutely. We actually played on this rink first day in the first game, and it drew well on both sides.
So here is Sarah Tokomo trying to get down to the jack. Looks to be on a fairly good line. They're just going to sit out. Needs to get inside the bowl, not outside it. Just got to roll under the bowl. Didn't turn it over. So the indication from our marker, it was 2. The Dunedin girls spoke to me. They were wanting to get out onto the green very quickly this afternoon. They're going to flight home this evening. They want, I suppose, want to make sure they get home to Dunedin. There's been a lot of flights and everything disrupted around the country over the weekend. So we watch this bowl now of Judy Robertson. Looks as though, yes, it's going to be under the head, under that short blue bowl. Might get a touch on it, but won't have any effect. It might in fact cut the line off for Sarah Tokomo to come down through there with that bowl. Debbie just literally right in that channel for that draw line through there.
Actually, one of the things, one of the things that the Dunedin side have done very well since I've been watching is that they've built the heads well, which is important in 2-bowl triples. If they haven't had the shot, they've had bowls very, very near or around and made it very difficult to make any numbers for the opposition.
Well, the big thing is, of course, as we know, in triples, they'll be dropping big numbers, playing with weight as Sarah Tokomo trying to get to these bowls. Just gets the jack onto the outside. And it'll be interesting to see. It might change the number. Having a look at the head now. And from the monitor here, it would favour the Dunedin bowl. Out comes the measure with the glove on. Is there some reason for the glove, Debbie?
I think it just seems to offer a little bit of extra grip. I think it's not something I've done, but
it was 2. It was 2 to the Dunedin skip side. Sarah Tokomo endeavoured to disrupt the head after her line on the draw certainly got hindered and had to play with weight.
That, of course, was a very good end to that Dunedin semi-final, with them having dropped a 4 on the 13th end and then picking up a 1 and a 3 to edge their way and close out that semi-final. It was a pretty exciting finish to the game.
Yeah, well, if you can pick up those big numbers at the right times, it certainly helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Now we see Beth Brown. Of course, Beth Brown played the singles in the final of the Intercentre. Of course, Dunedin played Nelson in the final of the Intercentre earlier on this year in Wellington, going down to Joe Edwards in that final. But a good opening bowl here from Beth Brown. Going to be short though. It's about 2'6" lower the jack. And we'll see now Robin Rintoul. So Robin Rintoul plays out of the Victoria Club as well. Obviously a good player in the Wellington area. Debbie, I don't really know much.
Yeah, Robin's sort of been around for a little while, and yeah, most definitely she's featured in a few of the Wellington sides for sure.
So at this stage, just out wide of the jack, short of weight. So Beth Brown now with her second, with the Dunedin side, the Taree side, leading 3-0. Here is Beth Brown now on her forehand, just wanting to improve by just under a metre. Certainly the first bowl had a good line to the jack. And this bowl looks a better bowl, just coming past her front bowl now, and that's a good bowl from Beth Brown in behind the head, right on the centre line, and that's where you want them, Debbie, isn't it?
Absolutely. Very deliberate bowler. Beth Brown thinks a lot about her line and her weight. You can see she's made the necessary improvement there and finished up in a very good home.
So Helen King, of course, has the number 2 for the Wellington side. Very accomplished player, won numerous titles in Wellington, and of course, as Debbie said earlier, won the New Zealand singles a few years back. Jan Young now, another well-performed player. Dunedin, still a reasonably strong centre in the women's. Well, they obviously are. They got through the final this year in the Ender Centre. So obviously, strong centre down there as we watch this bowl at Jean Young's. That's another good bowl, just going to sit in behind the jack at about 5 o'clock. So the head's starting. It's the, as you said earlier on, Debbie, the leads that give you the start in this 2-bowl triples makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely imperative, yep.
So a better bowl here coming into the head from Helen King, and this is going to run just about jack level, be close to being shot.
Close. I think we're one down, though.
There's, you might have heard the call there from the skip there from Judy to say that she thinks that we are actually in fact one down. Judy Robertson indicating to Jean Young we may well be one down. She's on her backhand is Jean Young. Just question the line of that. It's under the line to the centre line with line and weight. And might be fortunate and sit inside the king bowl, but going to fall out. Good effort though.
No one's on the roll. Back to you to play either.
15 ends, of course, no time limit. And it is the Tyree side leading 3-0 in this 15-end final. Great complex here in Hastings. And this came about, the formation of this club. It's a merger of a number of clubs, in fact. Gets past this bowl or touches it. That's certainly the shot rolled over the Helen King bowl. And we'll see what the marker indicates. Tony Terry is marking accordingly. Yeah, this club, talking to Dave Porteous this morning from Clubs Hastings, and the club, of course, is right alongside the Hastings Club and this indoor complex, and it merged, in fact, in 2000, the year 2000, with the Heratonga Bowling Club and the Karamu Bowling Club. And this indoor complex here, in fact, was laid in 2002. They've only got about 60 members, and they've only got the one indoor green, and he was telling me that they actually play most of their events throughout the winter months, and most of their members then play at other clubs in the summer events. So it's literally a winter club that they play most of their events on, but they've certainly got a very, very good surface that they present for the bowlers. As we watch this bowler, as the weight needs to get past his front bowl, going to 2 feet was the call there from Jean Young to her skip.
I think you're going to have to come here, Sarah, because I
And
didn't quite
Sarah Tokomo, Debbie's had a magnificent year this year in Wellington, hasn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Outstanding performance with Laurie Guy, of course, in the mixed pairs at the Somerset Nationals in Central Otago.
You can come in underneath.
So running underneath to get to that jack line and counting line, and will do so. Well played from
It's a great shot.
the Wellington skip. Draws right inside that narrow line. The shot, I think now, I think you'd agree with me, Debbie, is for Judy Robertson to try and follow that line of Sarah's bowl down under the head with just reaching weight.
There's plenty to sit on there, isn't there?
The danger, of course, if you get out on the wide side, are you going to come back all the way? And no, you won't. The line really to come back to the drawing line was the line that Sarah Tokomo took with her bowl. Just did draw up under that line. And as you rightly say, there's bowls to rest on. So the Wellington side on this, the fourth end, look as though they're going to open their account 3-0 at this point to the Dunedin side. Going to come around the bowl as Sarah Tokomo needs to get round it clean and will do. Fantastic bowl, needs to sit inside this bowl. It won't do, but magnificent bowl from the Wellington skip. So they'll take the bowls out. There's 2 that they've taken out. And Measure will now come around with Helen King, the number 2 for the Wellington side. Going to the jack level bowl, which is of course the Wellington bowl, and it is 3. The Wellington side certainly then, Debbie, played that head pretty well, didn't they? They got bowls around the head, mainly from the work that Helen King did to start off with, and then those 2 lovely bowls from Sarah Skip certainly built up a very good head for the Wellington side.
For sure. And I think, playing down that line that's just under, you're always sort of going to be in the area to count, aren't you? I mean, in a game like this, there's never usually too many points for wide.
No, there's not, and I'm always I'm a real advocate on the centre line is the key to this game. If you're not getting your bowls coming back to the centre line, but by the same token, in saying that, if you've got that dead draw weight and you're just off that centre line, you will more than likely hold up and be pretty adjacent to the jack, which we saw then from Sarah Tokumo, who was outstanding. We covered that game in the final of the mixed pairs down in Central Otago, and certainly was outstanding in that game, that final, playing with Laurie Guy up against the husband and wife combination of Bronwyn and Roger Stevens. So 3/4 length head, 3 all, 4 ends of 15, and this is the final of the Bowls New Zealand Champion triples. And at the end of this completion of this end, we will go to the couch, and Paul Terry, the president of the Hastings Club, will be having a chat with someone that he's found around the club here. Good crowd in here too at the Hastings Bowls Hastings, and he will have a chat with somebody. And to me, in this game, a lot depends on these 2 leads, Debbie. I think if Beth Brown can get that good start for the Dunedin, for the Tyree side, certainly makes them formidable, because coming behind, of course, in that Wellington side is 2 very, very strong players with Helen King and Sarah Tokumo. So the lead for Dunedin especially plays a big part in this match.
For sure. It's a bit like pairs, really. It's definitely a leads game. Two bowl triples, and if your lead can get you off to a great start, as you say, Kevin, it's definitely makes life a little easier and puts a lot of pressure on, for sure.
So here's the second bowl of Robin Rintel's, and this is the 15, just going to go by, but going to come back to the centre line, a metre and a bit over the head. Really the 2 leads at this stage. We haven't got anything that close. There's a metre all around. Beth Brown, the Tyree lead. Of course, Tyree have had a very, very good year, because they made their way as well, different combination, made their way through to the finals of the Bowls 3-5 in Wellington, which we covered. And of course, the Hastings Club, or the Bowls Hastings, were one of the sides, of course, who've qualified to go through to and they won it, in fact, beat the very, very strong Nelson side, and they'll appear in the Bowls 3-5 televised event, and good to see. That was a Dean Drummond skip side. So here is now Helen King on her forehand, definitely down on the head to the blue bowls of
a very good line here.
It's on a very good line, this bowler Helen King's. How far is it going to run? There's the shot going in, and it's sit right in behind the jack. There's the Wellington bowl.
Great shot.
So Jean Young, very deliberate player, really enjoys the game, gets into the game for sure. Does the Tyree number 2, looks to be on the narrow side, was narrow out of the hand, and of course this is where now it leaves the Wellington side the strength of having players like Helen King and Sandra Tokumo, that they can not dominate the head, but it just puts them in a good position to play the play out the end.
They're in a good position to add some numbers here, aren't they? And
they are. And that's exactly what Helen King is going to do here. He's going to draw jack level. There's the second bowl of King's sitting jack level just alongside 15 inches parallel with the jack. Pressure here on Jean Young to make sure that she gets out, so they're going to come back towards that centre line. Certainly got a better line with this bowl. How's the weight? Is it going to run all the way? This bowler, Gene Youngs. This is on a fantastic line. This bowler, Youngs. What a superb shot. Draws inside the Helen King bowl and rests in there for shot. Will certainly be one to Tyree at this point.
That's a great pressure bowl because the pressure was definitely on, that's for sure.
Certainly was. The Wellington side having a bit of a chat there in the middle of the rink on this, the 15, but that bowl of Gene Young's magnificent correction off her first bowl, which was very about close to 2 metres short and narrow, and just drew perfectly inside the two Helen King counting bowls. Our pleasure, of course, to bring this to you on Sky Sport Next. Just you enjoy this coverage, and thanks to Tamara and Colin who put all the production of this together, and of course thank you to our host Bowles Hastings, who have been magnificent throughout the 3 days of this event. And here's Sarah Tokomo trying to get down through this port to get to the jack. Looks on a fairly good line, just get to the shot bowl, jack, and does. What a bowl. Magnificent bowl from the Wellington skip. Rolled out the Gene Young bowl, got 2 rolls on the bowl and converted it into 3 shots, as superbly played by the Wellington skip, Wellington Bowler of the Year, and of course winner of the Somerset National Mixed Pairs in Central Otago. As you watch this bowl of Judy Robertson's, that's going to be under that line and lower the jack for sure. Needs to get a slide. Wouldn't get it thick enough to run towards the jack. We might see change of hand here, Debbie. I think it might be, it is, after that wonderful bowl that Sarah Tokomo played there. That was an outstanding bowl. So going back to the forehand.
Shot play like that makes a national champion, doesn't it, for
Well,
sure? So
it's about conversions, Debbie, isn't it?
It is.
That's what it's about. It's when you get the chance.
look, she's on a good line here too.
Just needs to get past the front
Sit.
and
what a
touches
great
the jack.
shot.
What a bowl, well played. And may not count, but certainly puts the Wellington side in control of this head. So Judy Robertson down on the head. Certainly got a better line with this bowl. How far is this going to come back? Certainly got a better line. Needs to get inside the bowl. In fact, it's just going to tip the Helen King bowl.
2 out there.
Well, from here, the jack there, that's 3. One would think that might be it. Out comes the tape. Sarah Tokomo has certainly been in outstanding form this year. 3 it was. And a bit unfair to say this in front of Debbie, who's part of the North Island side, which we're going to cover in a few weeks' time. But we'll now cross over to the man on the couch, to Paul Terry, the president of the Hastings Club.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bowles Hastings in Sunny Hawke's Bay, here for the champion New Zealand triples. Today I have a guest speaker who is Merv Brown, who is from our club, and I'd just like to get Merv to give you an overview of how the tournament's gone. Merv.
So Paul, from Bowles Hastings side of things, and the Hastings Hornets, it's been a great tournament. We've had great crowds down here. We've seen some fantastic bowls played. Obviously now down to the ladies' final that's going on at the moment and stuff like that. And they're still cracking on with it. We've had a lot of guys from the club have really helped out and made it what it is. And we're still hoping to get a bigger crowd down this afternoon for the men's final. It looks like the semis are going good. So, and good luck to the ladies at the moment.
Very good. So you think this tournament we could do in the future as well, Merv?
Oh, definitely, and we can definitely improve. There's a few things that we've done at the moment and with great feedback from Bowles New Zealand, then this is something that we could be holding, or and we'd be more than happy with Bowles Hastings and Hastings Hornets to be holding this tournament. and yeah, get the local crowd down here and behind us as well. So yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic, Paul.
Very good. Looking at the bowls and the ladies here on their finals, do you have a favourite at all, Merv?
Oh no, I'll stay biased there, mate.
It's been a very good tournament though, and there's been a few close games, even with the men's. So hopefully we're in for a good afternoon.
Oh yeah, and I'd like to congratulate our ladies, the Bowls Hastings ladies, that missed out on the last end in the semi-final, and to the lads that played. Yeah, they had a tough draw, lost a couple of games on the last end, and yeah, they could have been up there, but it wasn't their day yesterday. So, but yeah, no, good luck and well done to the ladies, and good luck to the lads in the future.
Very good. Now I understand because you're here with me, you're missing out on lunch and a beer.
Yep, my beer's getting warm and my lunch is getting cold. So yeah.
Very good. Well, hopefully we can wrap it up shortly. But is there anything else that you might want to mention? Maybe the people behind the bar.
Oh yeah, well, to everybody that's helped out with from the Bowls Hastings and the Hastings Hornets Club. Yeah, everybody that's helped out get this to be like it is at the moment and stuff like that. It's been fantastic. No one's bothered. Everybody's been out helping and stuff like this, right from all the way through, for the bar to the tidying the rinks up to keeping the place tidy and looking fantastic. And yeah, she looks great. The hall's a fantastic place. It's a fantastic complex, and yeah, we're very proud of it, and we want to promote it as much as we can.
Very good. I understand you managed to get a coffee cart outside this morning, well, for the last 3 days, obviously.
Oh yep, just the day of the times at the moment, they like their posh coffee, so yeah, it's not always the instants, but yeah, so the coffee cart's out there for people, and the bar's open early for everybody, so yeah, it's we're keeping everybody fed and watered.
Very good. Very good. The first day we had here, we had an enormous crowd here, and it was wonderful to see. We were just short of a few seats, obviously, but it was just the way it happened. Do you think we can do anything in the future for that?
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about maybe having more rink-side seats and stuff like this, especially when we come to the TV rounds like this. We have carpets that we can put down, and hopefully more of these sofas that are available to us. So yeah, we can do a lot more and make it a lot more spectators down the side and stuff like this, get them closer to the action and stuff. But yeah, we have a good crowd down here today as well. So yeah, no, it's fantastic at the moment, mate.
Well, from my point of view as the president of the club, I've been extremely satisfied with what's happened here, and I think, as you say before, a lot of the team members have really, as in the committee, have really helped out and got the place looking very, very good. So I'm just trying to think of something else to say, Move.
Well, there's not really a lot else to say, really, Paul. Unfortunately, we're not supporting our ladies in the final, and but yeah, it's yeah.
All right, mate. Well, look, let's wrap that up, and we'll let you get back to your burger and your beer.
Okay, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Murph. Great.
Well, back here to the Bowls here, back to the final, and of course the Bowls Hastings women's side were only in fact one shot away from being here in the final this afternoon, losing their semi-final this morning by 15 shots to 14 against they went down to they went down, of course, the Dunedin side, the Tyree side, by 15 to 14. And as we come back over here, I can tell you on this, the 16, it is Tyree who are holding the shots. You just saw Sarah Tokumo attack the head with weight, but with no luck at all. In fact, was off target.
I saw that bowl take a bit of a wide line there, and in fact never came back inside the rink. Kevin just held out there.
So thank you, Brett O'Reilly, for those comments. So here is now Sarah Tokumo again. Helen King, she might tell us into this. Got the jack. So the jack moved outside. No touches there, and well, you'll see the marker, and 3 shots is the call after that jack, after that. So there's no doubt. What I was going to say before, Debbie, and you're part of that North Island side, but Sarah Tokumo must have been one of the candidates who would been in the pecking order, one would think, because she's had a magnificent season.
She has, and yeah, definitely, probably was in the mix there somewhere.
There's a good attempt here from the Tyree skip. Is it going to hold up?
Great attempt.
Is it going to hold? No, it just rolls in.
Gave it every chance.
And that was another 3 was the call. And 9-3, 3 threes, Debbie. That makes, you know...
The game of numbers.
The game of numbers sure is. And we'll get someone shortly to do a runner out there for the men's semi-finals as well. David Clark, thank you, who's going to be doing the men's final with me this afternoon. David Clark going out to do a runner on those men's semi-finals, which are also now underway. That's the semi-finals between Nigel Burbeck, Jonty Horwell and Calvin Buchanan of Dunedin up against Rob Ashton, Ross Gillett, Wayne Coleman. And the other semi-final, the North Harbour side of Stephen Yates, Jack Hurapai, Jimmy Heath of North Harbour to say, against the Auckland combination, the Royal Oak Club, Mike Galloway, Martin Dixon and Gavin Brown. So David Clark just going to do a runner for us on that. But as far as the Hastings club is concerned, Club Hastings, though, Debbie, magnificent. Both of their teams were here in the finals. Had both won the Hawke's Bay Champion of Champions to get here. So for a club with only 60 members, and I think only about 15 women's members, I think is what they said to me. It's a pretty good effort to have them both here, the Dean Drummond side. And, of course, they also have qualified, the Hastings Hornets have qualified for the Bowls 3-5. So
absolutely, that's going to be really good this year, I think, with a couple of new teams in the mix there. And, yeah. Yeah,
it certainly will be. And this Club Hastings here, it's certainly, you know, the club next door, which is an amalgamation, in fact, of what was the Hastings Club, the Hibernian Club, and the RSA, all came together to form the club next door here, and it's all interlinked and all in all one access throughout the building, and makes it a great complex. And I believe there's talks in Matamata or something.
Well, I have heard that there's you know, the potential for looking at some sort of covered facility, potentially in the Rewa Club. I think there's a little bit of water to go under the bridge there, but of course that offers a fantastic venue for something like that. You will have been to Rewa, Kevin, with
certainly
the deck
have.
out the side there, and so it would sort of lend itself to something like that.
The Rewa Club, of course, the clubhouse itself just fringes right out on the front of the greens. And, the Rewa Club, years gone by, I had the pleasure of playing a number of events there. And of course, was headquarters for the Nationals one year as well.
Correct.
And a magnificent facility there, and may well be in the whole Matamata community, may be, I think, a complex there in that front green would not only be an added bonus for the sport, Debbie, but I think would be a very good community facility as well. Yeah,
for sure. I guess with Rewa, they actually, I'm not sure if you're aware, that one of the grass greens is gone now.
Oh, really?
They took the second grass green out, and there's a mega Mitre 10 there now, and it's a big warehouse behind Mega Mitre 10 for their lumber deliveries and what have you. So there's only one green at Rewa now, and that's the one outside the main venue.
We have to be very careful when I say this in a very precautionary way. And speaking a couple of weeks ago at the North Island Greenkeepers Association conference in Auckland, we've got to be very careful that we don't become over-artificialed and we lose so many of our natural surfaces, because at the end of the day, that's the surface of which...
It's the sport of lawn bowls, isn't it?
Correct. And we certainly, especially from a summer perspective and high performance, international and everything, we certainly want to maintain that. And we know, watching like the Australian Open, that certainly they're blessed with different climates to what we've got. But it certainly does make itself for a great spectacle.
It does. And it is a different game, playing on a carpet surface.
Certainly
It is a different game than playing on grass.
So as a changeover on this seventh end, at the halfway mark, it's the Tari side of Judy Robinson, Jean Young and Beth Brown who are holding the shot. trailing the Wellington combination of Robin Rintel, Helen King and Sarah Tokomo by 9 shots to 3. And in the men's semi-finals, it is Rob Ashton who is 6-1 up over Neil Buchanan. So Rob Ashton leading 6-1 after 4 ends. And in the Galloway-Yates game, it is 4-all after 4 ends completed. That's the game with Mike Galloway, Martin Dixon, Gavin Brown up against Steve Yates, Jack Huraway and Jimmy Heath. And they're all locked up at 4-all. And Ashton leading Kelvin Buchanan by 6 shots to 1. And in this women's final, it is the Wellington combination leading by 9 shots to 3. And I just missed that. Still the shot to...
Looks to be quite a nice little trail in there, doesn't there?
Yeah, it looks like there's a trail in there for inside those bowls for Sarah Tokomo on her forehand, the Victoria player. Just question how long that bowl's going to hold up on that line. Is it going to get all the way to the jack? It's on a great line to the jack. Going to get the jack clean. She does it again. Does the Wellington skip. Outstanding. Outstanding second bowl from Sarah Tokomo. And she's certainly been outstanding, Debbie, to date in this match. It's about changing the heads around, isn't it?
For sure. And as you can see, like, there's probably, apart from the draw through there to the jack, there's not too much on with no bowls behind the head.
Very narrow channel, and certainly trying here, but it might just be on the wide line. Doesn't want to knock this bowl too close in. Got, in fact, one of the Wellington bowls on the way through. And I think it should be 3. We'll just... No, 2 it was.
That was unfortunate.
Can't take away anything, though, from Sarah Tokomo, the Wellington skip from the Victoria Club. And I know we keep talking about this at national events, but the Victoria Club, I think it's now 9 years in a row, consecutive years in succession, that they've won a New Zealand title.
Oh, look, that's undisputable, isn't it? It's a great record, that's for sure. There's some very good players out of Victoria.
They do, and I must admit that Lou Newman, for one, certainly likes to remind us on a fairly regular basis of what's going on, but that's fine. So you're looking forward to the North-South match, Debbie? Yes, I am. That's the next big one?
Yep, really looking forward to the North-South match.
The North-South match, of course, will be played in Dunedin at the stadium down there, and we'll be bringing all of that live action over 3 days. Myself and Brendan Van Nistelrooy will be bringing you all of that live action. And then the following weekend, still in Dunedin, we'll be bringing you all the live action from the finals of the Professional Bowls Association. Their finals have been played the following weekend at the indoor complex in Dunedin. And we'll be bringing all of that live action as well right throughout. So we've got a pretty busy schedule down in Dunedin, but I'm certain we're going to have it's going to be a spectacular bowl, a carnival of winter bowls.
Absolutely. I know Mike Kernahan's very much looking forward to it, but you know, we had to remind him who the current holders of the North-South Challenge were, but he's pretty pumped for it, I must say.
Yeah, well, of course, Mike Kernahan, the new New Zealand lead coach, and he started his work already with the announcement of the high-performance squad building up to the Commonwealth Games next year, and there's a lot of water to go under the bridge yet before anybody's out or anybody's in, so there's not much sense really in making any comments on that because nobody knows.
Exactly.
There's a lot of events, a lot of training camps that have to be held between now and when that side will be selected, and of course before then we've got a full summer of bowls around the country, with the national pairs and singles to be held, of course, in Christchurch, and the national fours and mixed pairs. And you'll be happy, Debbie, being played in the wonderful Taranaki. Be a great few days down there in the Naki.
It's always a good time at Taranaki, isn't it?
Certainly
and they've got
is.
some lovely greens down there too.
There's another good bowl coming in from
shot.
Beth Brown, a front toucher. We've got one sitting right in front and one just in behind, and that's the ends now. And you start getting those bowls on the head, Debbie, that you can start to control the head, can't you? Especially in 2-bowl triples.
For sure, and as you can see, immediately with 2 bowls like that, it's almost sort of made those front 2 red bowls redundant, really, hasn't it?
Well, they now become really ineffective bowls on the head, and that's not been disrespectful at all, but that's just the way it is. And now all of a sudden on this, the 8th end, the pressure's now on the Wellington side, because the Tyree side can now have the opportunity to build a good head. This bowler, Helen Kings, is going to be short, so it's 3 short bowls now from the Wellington side, and this does give the Tyree side the opportunity, Debbie, to get some control of the head, doesn't it?
It does. We've got good opportunity to build some numbers here.
And hard to attack, of course, with no back bowls, and a pretty big wall to get through as well. And just question this Jean Young's bowls and doesn't have the line, or going to be under the line and just build to that big Spanish wall out in front. And indication there from Judy Robertson, that's 1.5 meters short. Helen King now look to be changing her hands onto the backhand, and we'll be endeavouring to try and get a bowl on the head. And this looks a better line, this backhand bowl of King's. How far is it going to run past the bowl's not far. That's a good bowl actually from Helen King. It's 3rd shot right on the centre line. And that really is the target now for Jean Young, isn't it? It's not where the 2 counting bowls are.
That's right.
The line for Jean Young is to that last bowl of Helen King's, because it will count as well. Just question, is the weight going to be enough to get the disappointing thing there for the Tyree side for Beth Brown? There was the ideal opportunity there, really, wasn't there, to add and just put strength around the head as the skips change over. And this is the 8th end. And just to repeat, in that men's semi-final, our last update, it was Rob Ashton of Wellington leading Kelvin Buchanan of Dunedin by 6 shots to 1. And Stephen Yates of North Harbour up against Mike Galloway. And that was all locked up at 4 apiece. I'm not sure how many ends had gone in that, but it was 4 apiece with the 15 ends. So
seems like that North Harbour side is staying in touch at this point. That's a very strong Auckland team, of course, with the current singles champion Mike Galloway in there.
Oh, it's a very good side.
Very good side.
It is a good side. I've seen a couple of their games here at this event so far, and they have come from behind in some matches, but, and of course, all good, all carpet players, because they've all played at Newland and other venues in Auckland.
Balls 3-5.
Galloway, of course, now part of the New Zealand High Performance Squad, back in the High Performance Squad again after a stellar year this year, beating Rory Soden in the final of the Somerset National Singles, as Sarah Tokumo makes her way back to the mat. Hasn't got a lot to play, really. They've had a good discussion down on the head, and I'm sure she'll be on that backhand, attacking on the backhand, trying to.
That's all right. You got another one.
Yeah, that's a hard shot.
That is a hard shot.
To try and get the only result there is the middle maroon bowl thrown to, because it's hard to get you would think to dislodge all of the bowls, and here
Potentially just trying to clear a path for a second, but was obviously a little under the line.
Well, now, of course, Judy Robertson is going to go out on the too wide, no doubt. Needs to be just past that front bowl, the Wellington front bowl. Oh, you might be able to hear the call that Helen King's making to her skip, Sarah Tokamo, and it does seem a very challenging shot, Debbie.
It does. Obviously, the ideal shot is getting down to that blue bowl and getting a bit of a kick on the jack there, but it's pretty cluttered in the front there.
Well, I suppose the other point is, as far as the Wellington side is concerned, is that Tyree haven't been able to add to the head. They could have been looking at 4 or 5 down, couldn't they?
They could have.
So
very easily.
They could afford to attack the head, so, because
they were no worse off.
They were no worse off. So on that basis, attack the head because you're not going to drop any more numbers. So this bowl here of Judy Robertson needs to clear this front, not going to do so. No. And it'll just be the 2. And after 2 fantastic opening bowls from Beth Brown, the lead for the Tyree side. And now after 8 of 15 innings completed in this final of the Bowls New Zealand Women's Champion and Champion Triples at Bowls Hastings, it is the Wellington side of Sarah Tokumo at skip, Helen King and Robin Rentol, who lead the Tyree combination of Judy Robertson, Jean Young and Beth Brown at 11 shots to 5. Now, interesting here, Debbie, that we see that the Tyree side have endeavoured to shorten the length up. And certainly, prior to this, we were playing far deeper up the rink. They've certainly shortened it up. And the good thing on this particular surface, it's not a big adjustment on length, is it?
It's not.
Because it's consistent, isn't it?
It is.
Some of the indoor surfaces you can change the lengths around, but the draw lines don't have the consistency. This particular complex here just does seem to have that consistency on the draw.
It does. It doesn't matter, as you say, that whatever length it seems to, you don't have to make any adjustment really in your green line, which is good.
So, Beth Brown there couldn't take advantage of that opportunity with the first bowl. What is interesting though, talking to the club, Debbie, this indoor surface here was laid in 2002. It's 20 years old.
Wow, and it's still the original surface.
It's still the original surface.
Wow.
And there's not that many that, if I look at others around the countryside, that, and I'm not at all having a crack at other complexes, but this surface is obviously...
It's obviously a quality surface.
Yeah, a good surface at the start, been well looked after, and has stood the test of time, obviously, hasn't it?
Yeah, yep, because it is a very, very pleasant surface to play on.
And again, we're going to see Beth Brown very low at the jack, and that's disappointing. And at the end of this end, we'll cross back to Paul Terry.
A little uncharacteristic of Beth, because she's played very consistently. So, of course, after those 2 fabulous bowls on the previous end, you know.
Well, you know the other point, you know, and this is a classic example of it here with these bowls here, is the danger on carpet is you get into your mindset that I've got a dead draw to the jack. Now, the minute you start trying to say on a dead draw to the jack,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble,
Yeah.
And you're more than likely going to fall short. You know, you really on the carpet. You really have got to have that mindset of, you know, a metre past it will draw you virtually right to the jack line.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, where possible, you're looking to play to the pocket. So anything between the jack and that red bowl is going to be very, very well placed.
Yes, it's a matter really of getting in a position whereby you're sort of beating the counting bowls and building the head from there. And it's this length here. This will be the shot here. This bowl of Helen King's that's going to sit in behind the jack. That sits at about 5 o'clock, just high the jack. Just drew round that front bowl of Robin Rentel's. As we see, Jean Young now trying to make amends to that. Is on a good line. It needs to get past this bowl though. If it gets under it, hasn't got the weight though, I don't think. Just finished slightly jack level. I'd still say it's the Helen King bowl that's shot bowl back in towards the centre line. King, of course, former New Zealand singles title holder. Sitting on a wider line with this bowl.
Just not going to get down there.
But the good thing you can see, Debbie, is that the bowls are continuously coming back to the centre line.
They are. Actually, that's one good thing about this surface. You know, the bowls are actually finishing into the head. It's a very good finishing surface.
It is.
Quite a lot.
It is. It certainly is. By goodness, we'd have had a full house here this afternoon if that Club Hastings side could have held on in that in their semi-final, because there was standing room only around the back of the rink there earlier on this morning. And thank you, ladies, as they move aside. Most appreciative. So, Judy Robertson now on the backhand, endeavouring to beat the shot bowl of draw inside the shot bowl of Helen King. See some applause there in one of the men's semi-final. Of course, we'll be bringing you the men's final live. And Beth Brown's going to fall low of the jack. I'll have David Clark of Counties Manukau with me. We cover that event.
Yes, the local teams, and rightly so, have had very good support, and it's great when you know, your locals can come down and get behind them. But of course, you know, Dean Drummond, a very good player himself, but unfortunately had a bit of tall timber on the way through the qualifying, and but yeah, very good bowler.
Yeah, that was a wee bit surprising because, you know, to be fair, I'd have thought Dean would have been one of the sides, you know, one of the more favoured sides, you'd think, but not to be. And it just highlights what these champion events are like, because, you know, you've got clubs from representing most of the centres around the countryside, from the far north down to the deep south. And we've seen already in these champions events, we saw, you know, Sheldon Bagley-Howley from Gore. He was up against Wellington. We saw in the Val Smith and Nelson up against, and here's another good bowl
what
from
a great shot,
sitting right down towards that jack, and a touch on it. And Sarah Tokumo has been outstanding.
Hasn't she played some brilliant shots?
Just on the draw, got a touch on the jack. I'm sure she made two, definitely two. Whether it made three, I'm not sure. We'll see in a moment. Definitely two. And that's 9 ends gone. And we'll now go over to, about to go over to Paul Terry. He'll have somebody with him on the couch. So at the end of this end, I'm sorry. And that was a 2, 13-5, 13-5. And in the men's semi-finals, so it's Wellington leading Dunedin. That is the Rob Ashton side leading Calvin Buchanan by 6-4 after 7 of the 15 ends. It's Ashton leading. And in the other semi-final, that's Stephen Yates of North Harbour up against Mike Galloway of Auckland. And it is Mike Galloway that is leading by 7 shots to 6 after 6 of the 15 ends. So that first bowl of Robin Rintel's, well, that's about 20 feet short. But I'm sure you'd agree, Debbie, that Sarah Tokumo so far, after 9 ends of this final, has been outstanding.
Oh, she's been brilliant.
And the good thing about her ability, or not her ability, but what she's doing is getting that bowl back to the centre line all the time on the draw. Good opening bowl here from Beth Brown, sitting at level at 13-5, 15 ends, just under a round of ends, aren't you?
Yeah.
Starting to get tough.
Starting to get to the pointy end now.
Certainly is. You know, start picking up numbers.
And of course the thing with that is, you know, you're having to play catch-up bowls, aren't you? But that's definitely given them a good start on this end from Beth Brown.
Yes, the second bowl there of Robin Rintols went in behind the jack, about a metre behind Beth Brown now. And of course, coming this way, the last end, it was the 2 bowls of Beth Brown's, of course, that were the scoring shots for the Tyree side. So she'll be endeavouring to do that once again for her side to keep them building their head. And it's on a good line. How's the weight? Yeah, this is a good bowl. You can clap this one. This is going to count for sure as it comes right back towards the centre line. And we'll just run into his first bowl. Got 2 bowls now, sitting jack level. And you might have heard Sarah Tokumo just saying that the shot bowl was 1 bowl jack low, but that shouldn't affect Helen King's.
I think Helen's switched over here and going to play up the forehand.
Well, of course, each their own, but my viewpoint on that is exactly what's happening here. You've got 2 resting bowls to get to on that. But the other hand, and this is going to sit outside that centre line, and thus it becomes an ineffective bowl on the back-end side. You had 2 bowls there to rest up on, and just it's about percentages, I think, Debbie. That's the...
Yep.
Mind you, I see a lot of bowls sitting here, and I can make all these calls.
Yeah.
But
I think if she'd had a matter of weight, you know, to be fair, she probably would have landed one of those 2 bowls.
But it's literally now become a one-hand.
It has.
A one-hand hit, hasn't it now?
Yeah.
So here's Helen King, her second on this, the 10th end, endeavouring to improve on her first, which had good weight, but just this is a better bowl here from King. This is coming back down towards the centre line now. How far is it going to get? Just needs a couple more rolls. Not going to do so, but certainly a very good bowl from the Wellington number 2. And holding 1, I would say. Yeah, still holding 2 was the call from Judy Robertson. Changing the hand now is Jean Young. Just going to try and draw underneath the Helen King bowl. Just question that line straight away. It's definitely under that narrow line. Might sit inside the King bowl, and if it does, it'll may well go close to making 3. But it's fair to say, though, Debbie, there's a strong possibility that it is 3.
Yep.
But there is a strong possibility that Sarah Tokumo could well change this.
I'd say so. Yeah, because there's plenty to come through onto there, isn't there? And I don't think Sarah will be short.
Well, the other thing is, as far as Sarah's concerned, is second shot at this stage of the game, leading 13-5, playing the 10th end.
Exactly.
But one down.
Playing the board, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yep.
One down's not the end of the world, is it?
No. And she has got that very well positioned bowl at the back of Robin Rintoul's.
Well, she's got a touch on the trail there on that forehand side of that Rintoul bowl, which is about a metre in behind. So it's our pleasure to bring you this Sky Sport Next, bring you this final of the Bowls New Zealand Women's Champion and Champion Triples from Bowls Hastings, as we watch this bowl of Sarah Tokumo. Not going to have the weight, certainly had a line, a good line, needed a metre of weight.
I think I might have put the commentator's curse on that
May
one,
well
Kevin,
have.
saying that she won't be short.
So going to the backhand now is the Dunedin or the Tyree skip. Winner of 8 centre titles. It's interesting in this team. When I talked to the girls before the game, Debbie, that between Judy Robertson and Jean Young, they've won a gold star between. They won 5 centre titles this year in Dunedin. So
it's fantastic.
They've been pretty much on form, obviously, haven't they, in the Dunedin centre?
Yeah.
So Sarah Tokumo endeavouring to improve by a metre on her first bowl, and needs to get past her front bowl. I'm not sure if she's going to. Helen, and there she got past it and just didn't quite get to the jack. She certainly doesn't want to play the hand right now with that bowl sitting on the outside and get a touch on it when you're holding 3. So on that forehand side, it's on a safe line though.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
And not going to have the weight. So 10 ends now gone. Helen King just having to look to see. It is 3. So after 10 ends of the women's final between Judy Robertson of Tari in Dunedin and Sarah Tokumo of the Victoria Club in Wellington, it's the Wellington side who are leading by 13 shots to 8. And we'll pass you over now to Paul Terry, who will have someone with him on the couch.
And good afternoon again, and welcome back to Bowls Hastings here in sunny Hawke's Bay. We're at the moment watching the final of the women's triples between Wellington and Dunedin. With me today and this afternoon I've got Lynn Stowe, who was the skipper of the bowls team for Hastings, and I'll just pass you over to get an idea of what she thought, how the tournament went. Here goes.
Thank you, Paul. The tournament has been fantastic. The greens are playing really, really well. You just can't fault them. And just everything in general has just been absolutely great. And all the spectators, amazing. You know, that's all I can really say about that.
Very good. Lynn, you got through to the semi-finals with your team.
Yes.
You were back a little bit in terms of the score, but you got back. I thought you went very, very well. How do you think your team performed?
Well, we actually played as a team, which did help immensely. In our last game that we played, we were down quite a bit, and then we picked up two fours actually, and it was all down to the last end, and we lost by one.
It's not too bad though, Lynn,
No,
really.
no,
Losing by
very,
one
very
is,
proud of
yeah,
my
no,
team.
very proud. So in terms of the how the complex went, did you feel that the club did a very good job in how they got it all together?
Absolutely, they really have done a tremendous job.
Yeah.
As you can see, the greens are running well. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this club, I'm a little bit biased because I'm the president, obviously,
Yes.
but this club is very competitive and has got a very has had a lot of good bowlers here.
Yes.
Obviously, we've won the bowls 3-5 with Dean.
That was fabulous. Yes.
Yeah, so we are the holders for that.
Yes.
Yes. So, do you think that the 3-5 is ongoing as a good competition?
Oh, definitely. I think it's fantastic. You know, you only play with two bowls, and you know what I mean to say each end, and it's good for bowls. Good for bowls New Zealand. Good for the players. It gives for new people coming along, gives them an incentive into the bowls 3-5.
Yep.
Definitely.
Good. You'll be pleased that one of your own team members was actually in the bowls 3-5.
Yes, she was.
And she was with two young men who looked after her pretty well.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So do you think that she's a person that might go back to the bowls 3-5 next year?
I'm sure if she's asked, I'm sure she will, and I'm
Nice.
sure she will be asked.
I'm sure she'll be asked. She
Yeah.
played well for the whole 3
Yeah,
days, didn't she?
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
So going forward, do you think we'd be good enough to hold these again, these type of...
Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no two ways about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your view, though, is there anything else we could have done different?
Look, I don't think so. I think it's been great and you know, well arranged, and everything about it has been good. The spectators think it's wonderful. They think it's wonderful. Yeah, no, and I think all the players themselves have enjoyed being here.
So with the last game that we're watching right now, have you got a favourite?
I favour Wellington, I think, at this stage. What's the score now? 13-8. Yeah, it's getting close, but I still favour Wellington.
Right, well, I mean, and the men's, are you going to hang around and watch the men's play?
No, I'll be going home very soon.
Oh, right. Well, I hope you had a good 3 days.
Sure have.
Yeah,
It's been fantastic.
and as you say, your team played exceptionally well. I
Yes,
thought they did
did.
pretty well.
Considering we've only got 8 ladies in our club.
Yes.
We have
How many was that, Lynn?
8.
So we need some more.
We do need more players, ladies, yes.
Very good. Well, I think we should get some after your efforts today. That looked very good. So, what else can we talk about, Lynn, perhaps? Would you like to say anything else about anybody in the club particularly?
Well, you've been the president. You're doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
As usual. Just everything. Everyone seems to help, you know, get along together, work in together. And, yeah, everything runs smoothly. As you know, they're all pretty good, aren't they? All pretty neat people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Paul.
no problem. Thank you very much for your time.
So here we are back as we play the 11th end of 15, and it is 13-8 to the Wellington side of Robin Rintel, Helen King, Sarah Tokomo, up against the Tyree side of Beth Brown, Jean Young and Judy Robertson. Leading 13-8 is the Wellington side, and it is the Beth Brown bowl that is holding shot as the skips have now. And it's fair to say, Debbie, Beth Brown has been she's been pretty steady off the front for the Tyree side. She's Beth's been pretty consistent with her lead bowls and has performed pretty well.
She has indeed. It's just given them a really solid platform to build on.
As we see now, Sarah Tokomo, who's going to go wide on the outside of the head there, was endeavouring to try and reach that bowl. You can see the next two shots least that might be a Tyree bowl because we didn't see all of the head. But our marker, Tony Terry, will tell us in a moment exactly what the story is. Definitely one shot at this stage. It looks as though this bowl of Judy Robertson needs to get under this bowl, gets around it, gets a touch on it.
Oh, great effort.
Great effort. See whether we get any indication of... It could be in the count, that bowl, in fact. Now, this end could change things, just bring that score back. You know, we could be back to possibly 13-11. As we're playing the 12th end, well...
That would put them well in touch.
It's anybody's game, really, at that point, Debbie, isn't it? So we've seen Sarah Tokumo. She's narrowed her line with this bowl. This is on line to the target area. And a good thing, second shot. And
that's what it's about,
that's
isn't
what
it?
it's about. Absolutely, that's what it's about. Because 3 shots in, as we rightly said, Debbie, could have been, you know, we could have been looking at 13-11 after 11 of 15, but we're now looking at 13-9. Certainly not any comfort zone for the Wellington side, but that was, you know, a very telling bowl in
the scheme of things.
Absolutely, it was.
Yeah.
Remembering, of course, the previous end that Tyree had scored 3. They were looking at possibly getting back-to-back 3s. Spirits get lifted, and, you know...
Yeah.
And as Brenton and I consistently say when we're covering these games, you know, you can play the game. In this game, for example, 15 ends, you play it in 5 end stages, you know, after 5 ends. It was Wellington that were leading 6-3. After 10, 13-8 they were leading. So they've been leading all the way through. But it's this back 5, it's this back section whereby, you know, things can change. And you only have to win by 1.
That's right.
And Beth Brown, here we go, right on top of the jack. Draws a back toucher.
Hasn't she played well?
She certainly has. The Tyree lead. And, of course, played the singles this year for Dunedin in the inter-centre finals at the Wilton Club in Wellington. And certainly Beth Brown here done the job for her side, no doubt right throughout the event. Otherwise, they wouldn't be obviously featured in the final. A good reply there from Robin Rintel, just going to sit by, jack high, but pretty handy. And as we said in the men's semi-finals, the last count we had, it was Rob Ashton who was leading Kelvin Buchanan by 6 shots to 4 after 7 ends. And it was Mike Galloway of Auckland leading Stephen Yates of North Harbour by 7 shots to 6 after 6 of the 15 ends. And of course, later this afternoon, we'll be bringing you that final, and I'll have with me David Clark, the skip of the Counties Manukau side, and of course also part of the Manuera Marlins in the Bowls 3-5. And as we speak, here he comes. And we have an update from the men's triples, and we've got... So now the Wellington game, Rob Ashton up against Kelvin Buchanan of Dunedin, and it is now 6-all after 9 of the 15 ends. And in the Mike Galloway game up against Stephen Yates of North Harbour. So it's Mike Galloway, his side of Martin Dixon and Gavin Brown. They're leading 9-6 after 8 ends over Stephen Yates, Jack Hurawai and Jimmy Heath. So the Wellington Dunedin game in that men's semi-final is all locked up at 6 apiece. And in the North Harbour, the Battle of the Bridge match, it is Mike Galloway who is leading Stephen Yates by 9 shots to 6. And here in this women's final, after 11 of the 15 ends, it is 13 shots to 9 in favour of the Wellington side. The Victoria Club, out of the Victoria Club, Sarah Tokumo leading Judy Robinson by 13 to 9. And it is...
This is on a very good line.
It is this bowl of Howlone Kings, a toucher, front toucher, sits right on. And I would say would be shot. Trying to see whether they're both touching.
Very deserved applause there from Sarah Tokumo.
So we heard Judy Robertson just saying that they're both touching. Well, from the Tyree Club's point of view, they don't want them both touching.
They don't.
They want a scoring end, not a both touching end. So somehow Jean Young has to make some contact onto those two bowls to try and move the Helen King bowl on, get a touch on the jack. Jack onto the bowl, move the jack out fractionally.
This is the sort of shot that she actually played very well against us. She, you know, gave it every opportunity and was never really far away.
Well, it's on a good line here. It's on a good line here to get something.
Very
It's
good line.
Just as you said, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Rest out the Helen King bowl. Make shot of it. Just played perfect. Just played a couple of bowls over draw weight. Just made that contact onto the front bowl. Did Jean Young. Here is now Helen King on her backhand. I might say something, a theoretical point. Playing with weight though. Is it going to set up?
Edge off
Needs
this.
a edge.
Oh,
got
what a great shot.
Got the edge off the bowl. And you can see at the point of delivery there, Helen King was playing that extra yard of weight. She held the bowl up a bit. You could see in her hand that she'd actually hadn't just delivered it out smooth. She'd held it up a bit out of the hand with that extra yard of weight, and it just held up.
Held that line.
Just held up on that line and got down, got an edge off the side bowl and rolled in behind the jack for shot.
Very good head, this. Changing head, which has been very good.
So now Judy Robertson really has to play the identical shot to what Jean Young, her number 2, did. The play down there. Can't be short, that's a big thing. Got to be playing with contact weight to get to the Helen King bowl. But those are the shots, Debbie, in the context of a match that they'll win us. They won't win big matches, aren't they?
They do. Now, what win ends, and winning ends wins you the match, doesn't it?
So you could hear Jean Young then saying too wide.
You can see it, eh?
And the difficulty is playing to this head, of course. There's another bowl out in front, which is the Beth Brown bowl, and that's literally in the vision line straight down to the jack. So it's very hard to actually judge that line down to where that point is and to have that weight, because you've got to have weight to get past that front bowl as well.
You do.
Helen King encouraging this bowl on of Sarah Tokumo's not going to get all the weight. No, it's not. Well, there's no. To me, the shot here was playing with weight through those two. Front bowls now, because of that bowl. The Sarah Tokumo's actually did give a vision line down through there with weight, but more than likely prove me wrong and get the shot on the other hand. It's going to go by. Not going to do so. So another end will be gone. There's 12 gone, and it will be at least 14-9. Definitely one at least to the Wellington side. And with 3 ends left to play, it's now at the point where the Tyree side have to score.
They have to score a number, really.
Well, they really need to score a 3, Debbie, to be what I would say. And a good attempt here, needs to get back a bit further. Not going to do so. Wellington will be quite happy to score the 1 after that very good bowl of Helen King's, after we saw Jean Young play a magnificent second bowl to draw the shot bowl. So, yeah, we're at the point now, you're right, Debbie, where it's got to, it has to be a number. Also, it needs to be a 3 to give yourself a chance over the remaining 2 ends.
Makes it very hard going into end 14 and 15 if you're 3 or 4 behind, doesn't it?
One thing that has impressed me at all, the length of jack, I'm not sure if this will be up, will it? It's very short, isn't it?
I think the mat might be
Or
right
the
back
mat
on
right
the
back
2.
to that. Compliment these ladies, all the 6 of them, because they've got through the game. No mucking around, not really up looking at heads. And
Actually, I don't think any of the games really went anywhere near time, to be fair, and like with no time limit in this final, they've still pushed through it very well, haven't they?
They certainly have put, and that's a compliment to the players. Well played here by Robin Rintel. Great opening bowl, front toucher, and when you lead in 14-9, you're playing the 13th end. That's the sort of bowl you want to start off with, because you're certainly not going to put yourself in too much danger of dropping a significant number. Don't forget, we'll be back later on this afternoon with the final of the men's champion and champion triples, and in that semi-final, as we updated you before, Rob Ashton and Kelvin Buchanan, they were all locked up at 6 apiece after 9 ends, and it was Mike Galloway leading Stephen Yates 9 shots to 6.
When you've got a start like this and a lead like this going into the 13th end, I get, you know, all Wellington have to do here now is really play for position, don't they, and cover bowls, you know.
Well, it's one of those things where, your reliance is around second shot. Whatever happens now, that's the big thing, because once you can nullify those scoring opportunities, can't you? And that's the key in 2-bowl triples. It's not allowing a head to build up against you and put you in a position where, although you're leading the match, where you're in a position where you're going to drop a 3 or a 4. And with a front toucher, that certainly gives you that good start. And the second bowl of Robin Rintel, like over the head, and this bowl of Beth Brown's another very, very good effort. Finishes just higher the jack, but
a little touch on that, and the jack just squeezed out a bit would have given them a good look at it.
Yeah, is that bowl jack high?
so you hear Helen King asking her skip Sarah Tokomo whether it was jack high. She indicated it is. So here now is the very well performed Wellington player, former New Zealand singles title holder, Helen King. And this looks on a good line to get a touch. This looks on a good line. Just going to go by, sits rich on the centre line. And an update now from the men's semi-finals. The game between Rob Ashton and Kelvin Buchanan of Dunedin. And it is Rob Ashton leads 8-6 after 10 ends. 8-6 after 10 ends. Rob Ashton leading Kelvin Buchanan, and Michael Galloway up against Stephen Yates. Michael Galloway of Auckland, Stephen Yates in North Harbour. And it's 9-all now. 9-all after 9 ends.
Hold all tickets.
So it's all locked up. Anyone can win that one, that's for sure. So the big thing, as Debbie rightly said here for Wellington, the Wellington side, holding the shot, and they can literally play a game of Chinese checkers here, just make sure that wherever the Tyree bowls goes, that they literally cover those bowls, and it certainly cuts off the scoring opportunities. Jean Young, number 2 for the Tyree side, on the backhand.
That first bowl of Helen King's is a superb bowl sitting there. Any connection with that red bowl at all, and that's going to be a counting bowl, I'm sure.
Jean Young trying to make contact onto the shot bowl, all but. That was a valiant attempt, and actually didn't touch anything on the way through, but had perfect weight to get a touch on that one shot, as indicated by our marker, Tony Terry. This is end 13 of 15. And really, it's not the point of no return, Debbie, but it's a must-score in for the, really, for the Tyree side, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
And Sarah Tokomo has once again highlighted today in this final the class of this player. She's been outstanding right throughout, winning the New Zealand mixed pairs, winning Wellington centre titles, and of course getting through now here to the final of this, the final of the champion and champion triples, and certainly played some magnificent conversion bowls, Debbie, to date in this final, as we see this bowler Julia Robertson. That's going to make 2 of it. Sits on top. That's 2 shots to Tyree.
I think Wellington's got the shot there, have they?
Sorry, my apologies. Yes, it's 1-2 Rintel. But second shot. Going to have the weight, this bowl of Sarah Tokomo's just going to sit. It's very difficult now, isn't it, for Tyree to I just wonder whether there's a chance on the other hand, Debbie, to play it, because there's a bowl of Beth Brown sitting out to the side there. It's very, very hard to get this, literally draw it right off the jack. And giving it a best attempt, though, is
Tell you what, she's in the fun zone
Judy
here.
Robertson. Just going to get a touch on the front pole and goes by. A fantastic effort. But unfortunately for the Tyree side, though, that's another in gone. And we go to the 14th end, and 15-9, 6 the difference. That's
Tough
a big
ask.
hill. It's a
Tough
bit,
ask.
well, it's not a hill now, it's a mountain.
It is a mountain.
So, yeah, the men's, that's it could still be anybody's in both of those finals, couldn't it? Really,
Absolutely it
they're
could.
both, the Yates-Galloway game, it's all locked up, and the Rob Ashton game, that's literally all locked. It's only 1 or 2 the diff there, so...
I haven't actually seen too much of the men's bowls this weekend, but I have been impressed by Nigel Burbeck, I must say. I've seen just sort of, a couple of the back end of their games, and I've been very impressed with his play.
The lead from Dunedin,
The skip from Dunedin.
Calvin Buchanan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him out there before. Now, I must admit, it's not somebody that... Well, I'm not sure, because here's got Rob Ashton here as lead, so it might
so I
be...
think it's Nigel. That's the skip.
Yeah.
And of course, Jonty's been very, very steady through in the middle there in that team, and
Well, a pretty well-performed player,
is
Johnny.
yeah.
So in both events...
There's one thing for sure, it's going to be a very good men's final, whichever 2 teams end up lining up. There's a very good bowl coming in here from Beth Brown as well, and that's what they need.
They do, and they need a few, Deb, don't they, really? They've got to have a good scoring head on this particular end.
That's a Super Bowl by Beth, and the fact that they are staring down. And
Look at this
from
bowl here.
Robin Rintoul.
Rintoul just sits right in behind the jack.
I was about to say, Kevin, you're facing that mountain, and it is very hard to relax and get into that rhythm and play those bowls. But that was a cracker for sure. Bit of a change of hand now, looking for that little trail to hers. Sort of question the line a little bit. I don't know that that's going to get back to the centre line.
Just needed really...
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, need a wee bit more weight just to get itself back to that line. But, that was a very telling bowl played by the Wellington lead. Robin Rintoul there, Helen King now, as we play in 14. And this too looks to be on that wider line. Don't think it'll come all the way back to get to the blue bowl of Beth Brown's. Not they had good weight, but just stayed out.
That bowl of Beth Brown's there sort of gives Jean a bit of a visual guide there, which...
It's a touch on the jack shot, isn't it? Touch on the bowl of the jack to make 2 of it.
It gives her a little lane in there, and
it's going to be under the head. But certainly it had the right weight, though, Debbie, to play that reaching weight to disturb things and move things around. And there's no sense in being short, because you're not going to get effective or opportunities, though,
No.
with bowls being short.
still that nice little port open there for Jean to come in and with that little trail. Sit the red, trail the jack.
Thanks, Brett O'Reilly, for those comments. It's good. I know you're watching. So trying to get to that line, as Debbie spoke about it, maybe on the wide side with that weight. Needs to get contact. Does get some contact. Rocks the pole. Hands on knees. Does Jean Young. Thought that she'd played the perfect shot. Not quite. And it's interesting. There's been 2 ends in a row now where Robin Rintoul, who may have struggled parts of this game, but the last 2 ends...
She's just hit a bit of a patch there where she's just, been able to put one one or two pretty close, which is...
Certainly has.
Yep. If you're going to have a little bit of a struggle, it's probably better in the middle of the game than at the end of the game.
It is. So the Sarah Tokomo, the skipper of the Wellington side, who, as we've said on numerous occasions, has been outstanding in this event and has really continued the form that she's that Sarah has shown right throughout the year. As we look at this bowl, break towards the head, just going to slip by, but was certainly on that perfect line to the centre line and would more than likely sit at third shot, so she'd be quite happy with that, because 15-9, and this could well be, they've got a score. Does the Tari side
Wait from...
trying hard as this bowl to get
It's
back to the
trying
shot
very
bowl, and
Oh,
doesn't want to move
What a
as
great try.
Jean Young just puts hands on knees, big smile, because that bowl of Judy Robertson certainly had the right weight and just rolled the bowl, got onto the shot bowl of Robin Rintel's, but just couldn't move it right out of the head. And here is Sarah Tokomo again on that line again. Deb, how's the weight?
I think she might be a little bit under the weight. Very relaxed and easy delivery, very uncomplicated from Sarah Tokomo. It's become a little bit difficult to make numbers or get to it here.
Very difficult to get to a number, I suppose, really is. So here is Judy Robinson trying to rescue the situation. Looks to be breaking, not going to come back far enough.
An edge here. Oh,
Not enough was the edge. Have I got my maths wrong here?
well,
Got 16-9 on the... Well, they're playing this end. An update from the men's semi-final. It is the Rob Ashton skip side who are leading Dunedin by 8 shots to 7 after 11 ends, 8-7 after 11. And in the North Harbour Auckland game, it is North Harbour who are leading after 10 ends by 10-9. So that's the Stephen Yates side, leading Mike Galloway by 10 shots to 9. 16-9 here is the score. And I'll just get Debbie to take over for a sec.
handy opener here by Robin Rintel. She's not too far away at all, which is a good start. A little under the line, but very good weight.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we can't get 7.
Beth Brown following her up on her backhand, of course, being the left-hander. Oh, sorry, my bad. She's playing her forehand.
So 16-9 as we play now in 14. It's the end, of course, the Tari side must score a number to be able to stay in this game, and just to, I think the difference we've seen the last 4 ends, especially Debbie, has been Robin Rintel, who the lead for the Wellington side, who's been very, very steady off the front. And with bowls like that, you're certainly not going, if you get one out of your 2 bowls in around the area like we've just seen, you're certainly not going to put yourself in any danger. And look at this bowl here, it just sits inside this bowl and is going to do so. And that's just what you need. So
Or is it over the head?
Beth Brown asking Judy Robertson whether the bowl is over the head or not. That the bowl of Rintoul's, but certainly, as we spoke earlier about the building the heads, Debbie, this is certainly makes it challenging for the Tyree side.
It sort of looks a difficult shot down that side.
Well, you really got to be inside the winey colour bowl. Really got to get you really got to get a slide or a touch off that bowl. This bowl here is going to move the bowls around a wee bit. Puts the blue bowl now clearly into the centre. But when you're looking to at least score 3 on this end or 4 really, to give yourself a fighting chance on the last end.
Really need to be probably trying to move the jack away from the red bowls and give some room to try and build some shots. But
Well, the call here really for Helen King is just to make sure that she's in and around the Beth Brown bowls. That's
for Helen, for sure.
yeah, for Helen to get in and around those bowls, and that'll certainly just negate the scoring opportunities for the Tyree side.
No, I don't want it. Just play Rob's bowl.
So you might have heard then the call, and we're going to see Helen King endeavour to play to the Robin Rintoul bowl. Gets a turn onto the bowl. This is on a good line here. This bowl, if it's got the weight and gets inside it, it's going to get right onto the bowl, and that's well, the good thing about that, Debbie, it's another bowl in on the head, and of course, there's no bowls yet. Of course, behind the jacks, there's no bowls over the head.
Really need to be cleaning some
Well, correct. That's
some stuff out of there, don't you, to give yourself a chance for the kill, because I can't really see any numbers building up here, unfortunately, for the...
No, because it's got to be, and that's going to disappear right under the head, sadly, that bowl of Jean Young's. It was, I suppose, really, it's one of those heads where you're not going to get anywhere with those sort of weighted shots. No. You've either got to try and draw and move the jack around, or you've got to hit pretty hard.
Some damage, yeah.
And really, Helen King, big thing, that's correct. The call here is for Helen King to finish back over the head,
absolutely,
down towards the 2 metre mark, and behind the head is where she needs to be. And the backhand is Helen King. That's certainly going to give them some safety, because as Debbie rightly said before, there's certainly no numbers there for the Tyree combination as we play this, the 14th end in the final of the women's champion and champion triples here at Bowls Hastings, with the Wellington side of Robin Rintoul, Helen King and Sarah Tokomo leading the Tyree side, Beth Brown, Jean Young and Judy Robertson by 16 shots to 9. And at bowl there of Young's, it tipped the Beth Brown bowl in behind the head. Still doesn't really make a great deal of difference, really, Debbie, does it?
No, unfortunately not. And I think, even with big weight, that red bowl's very square onto the jack, so the jack's probably potentially wouldn't kill anyway.
Well, it's a straight line.
Planting it into the ditch, which is,
Well, it's a straight line jack, isn't it?
Yeah.
With contact, it's literally just past that blue bowl down towards the ditch. So
that's right.
Really is a straight line jack. So it is fairly safe for the Wellington skip side, as we see Sarah Tokomo now leading by 16 shots to 9, and will be more than happy to be just over the head and not building anything up. So Judy Robertson trying to get a scoring opportunity out of this, the 14th head, certainly playing with reaching weight, but isn't going to come back enough to get that contact that it needs. No, it's not. It's outside the Beth Brown bowl, and it sails its way in towards the ditch. Helen King just indicating to Sarah Tokomo, just get by, just come past, get by a metre, and that's fine. Great year, though, for the Tyree Club, of course, making the final of the Bowls New Zealand finals, the Bowls 3-5 finals in Wellington. And this, the Tari side again making their way into the final of firstly winning the Dunedin champion triples and now making their way into the final. So great effort by the side of Judy Robertson, Jean Young and Beth Brown, and shake hands time, and it's all over here at Club Hastings. And the winners of the women's champion triples is the Victoria Club side of Robin Rintoul, Helen King and Sarah Tokumo. They've defeated the Tari side of Beth Brown, Jean Young and Judy Robertson by 17 shots to 9. And Debbie, really, to be fair, it was Wellington were pretty much in control. You know, they were down 3-0 after 2 ends, but they were pretty much in control right throughout the game.
They were they had good head building, and you know they Sarah turned some good heads over and made some good scores, and the team, they played very well as a team, didn't they?
Well, just quickly back to these men's. It's all changing around now because after 12 ends, it is Dunedin who are now leading the Rob Ashton Wellington side, the Dunedin side of Nigel Burbeck, Jonty Hall and Kelvin Buchanan. They're now leading the Wellington side of Rob Ashton, Ross Gillett, Wayne Coleman by 9 shots to 8 after 12 of the 15 ends. In the other semi-final, the North Harbour combination of Stephen Yates, Jack Huraway and Jimmy Heath, and they're up against Mike Galloway, Martin Dixon and Gavin Brown of Auckland. And after 11 of the 15 ends, I can tell you it's North Harbour who are leading by 11 shots to 9. Fair to say, of course, we don't know what's going to happen during the men's. That's good to go either way. But it's fair to say that the Wellington side, Sarah Tokumo, has just continued her stellar season, really, hasn't she?
Oh, she was dominant, wasn't she? Really, she was outstanding.
Well, in those mid stages of the game, she was the player. Sarah was the player that played the conversion shots. When they were down on the head, she was able to get results. But it was where she was drawing the bowls and the control of her weight. And a very relaxed player, but certain and a good delivery, very good at getting bowls back to the centre line, and certainly has been one of the best performing women that I've seen this year on the local bowl scene, and a deserved winner.
Deserved winners, yeah, absolutely. Great final, and you know, well done by the Tyree girls, but yeah, congratulations to them both.
So earlier on, of course, in the semi-final, we have the presentation by Mark O'Connor, the Bowls New Zealand president. We'll be making that presentation very shortly. And in their way through to the final, it was Judy Robertson who beat the local Hopes, the Hawke's Bay side, the Hawke's Bay Club side, by 15 to 14, a very close game. And up against Manawatu was the Sarah Tokumo side, and they won that semi-final by 16 to 12. So the finalist, or the winner of the women's champion singles, is now triples has been found. The men's, of course, those semi-finals are getting down towards the latter stages now. It's of course Mike Galloway, the Mike Galloway side. So just been given some advice here from Bowls New Zealand that the presentation, because the men's the semi-finals are still underway, that we won't be doing the presentation, but I have got with me now Sarah Tokumo, the winning skip, and thanks to Debbie White, who's been with me this afternoon. So I've got sitting alongside me, Sarah, congratulations. So, but congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
It was one of those games where if you got a good start on the head, it just made things that much easier, didn't it?
Yeah, it certainly did.
You know, and really early on in that game, Beth Brown was certainly making things a wee bit challenging.
Yes, she was.
She was drawing some very good bowls in and around the head. But then the last 4 ends, when it really counted, 4 to 5 ends, Robin Rintoul certainly gave you a great start off the head, didn't she?
Yep, she was fantastic. Both her and Helen have been great up the front end.
Well, also in that mid stages of the match, you were able to get those conversions shots. You had about 3 ends in a row where you were able to get a touch on the jack, dislodge a bowl, but move the jack around a bit and get good scoring ends. And the good thing was, once you got that control, you were at 13-5. You never you dropped a 3 after that, but you were never really in a position of dropping big numbers, were you?
No, we knew we just had to maintain balls on the head.
Second shot was the key, wasn't
exactly.
it? So it's been a great year for you, hasn't it?
It has. I've had some great players with me.
Well, you have, but in saying that, and you've been outstanding as well. You're that final, of course, of the mixed pairs final down in Central Otago. That was obviously a highlight.
It was.
Winning the mixed pairs with Laurie Guy, that was because that was a very strong field, wasn't it?
It was extremely tough.
It was 206 combinations lined up in those mixed pairs earlier on this year, and you and Laurie Guy ran out the winners, and you won other titles this year in Wellington, didn't you?
Yeah, following on from the mixed pairs, I went on to win I won the open pairs with Robin and Wanganui, open triples, champ triples, champ fours.
And the Wellington Bowler of the Year.
Yes, and my gold star.
And your gold star as well. Well, what a wonderful season for Sarah Tokomo, and that's her with us right now, the victorious. And of course, the other thing, we can't go without mentioning this, another title for Victoria.
Yes, yeah, they'll be extremely happy. They've been great supporters of us.
They certainly have been, and they've got great consistency around winning national titles. So, look, congratulations, Sarah. Congratulations to you and the team, but more importantly, congratulations to yourself on a wonderful season, and what a way to finish off.
Thank you very much.
Our pleasure to have you with us, Sarah.
Might see you next week.
In the fours in Pukekohe. See, there you are. So, Sarah Tokomo will be with us again, possibly next weekend in the fours, because we're covering, of course, the champion fours from Pukekohe. So this is Kevin Hickland, and we'll be back with you when we're back later on this afternoon, and we'll bring you the final of the men's triples here at the champion triples here at Bowls Hastings. And just to wrap up, the winners of the women's champion triples, the Victoria side of Robin Rintel, Helen King and Sarah Tokomo, defeating the Beth Brown, Jean Young, Judy Robertson side of Tyree by 16 shots to 9.